Okay, here's a short tutorial to help you through Lab 9. So the first part of the lab is going to launch this viewer here. And when that opens up, it'll look something like this. And because we're focusing on earthquakes, we're going to have you look at earthquake epicenters and active faults. So you want to toggle those two on, and the data will appear on your map. So you'll move around through the data, answer some questions, couple things. You can toggle on and off some of the data because it is a lot of data. So if you're looking for very large earthquakes, you can toggle off the smaller earthquakes, and that way it'll remove some of the data. It might be easier to find those things. So that's one kind of tip for that. The other is that remember each of the icons has additional information if you click it. So like these triangles have a pop-up that'll give you some more information. And of course, each of the circles also has additional data. So don't forget to click on those to answer some of the questions. So that's the first part of the lab. The second part, after you go through these questions, is going to ask you to download these two data files for Google Earth. And when those load, they should look something like this. The tip here is that the two files, the earthquake or the plate tectonics file, you can see no matter where you are on Google Earth. But for the magnitudes, you have to zoom in a little bit, and you'll see that they start to show up at a certain elevation. So you can, if you're out too far, you won't be able to see the data basically. So zoom in a little bit. Some of the first questions are asking you about just the continental United States here, and so you can look at that data. And then the other questions are actually asking you to kind of go around the world here. And the same issue arises. Don't be too far away because the data is too hard to see. You'll have to zoom in a little bit until you start to see the data populate. And then that's the data you'll be able to use. And just like the other icons, you can click some of these and they will give you additional information about if I can get in there and make it work, there we go. And the pop-up will give you some additional information. So these are depths. So if we're asking you for specific depths, you're looking for colors, and then the colors will give you, once you click on the icon, additional information. So that shouldn't be too bad. You've kind of used some of those data files before. And then the last part is maybe something a little new. We're going to have you do is after you go through all these questions, oh, there, can't forget about this. There's just a web link. That's pretty simple. You click on the web link, answer these questions. Once you've completed those questions, that'll be 35 points out of your 50 points for the lab. This last section will be worth 15 points. We're asking you to locate some items in Google Earth, mark them, and then capture that image and upload it. So how that's going to work is for the first part, we're asking you to locate some items here that have been given a longitude and latitude. And the easiest thing to do is if you just highlight these and then copy them, you should be able to just drop them into the search bar here and hit paste and search. And it'll center on that location, and it put a little place mark here. And so what you'll want to do is you can do a couple things here. You can get some properties of this place mark here, or we can just add one and hit add a place mark right there. And we can call it whatever you want. You can change the icon to something else like a ship, but you're not required to. So you have a variety of icons to choose from. And then you'll want to name it. You can name it the name of the ship. You can just call it number 1 if you'd like and hit OK, and it'll show up there as a number 1. And so then you'll jump back to here and you'll copy and paste this one in there. Once you copy and paste it in there, remember, it's going to take you to another location. Be patient. Let it center first. So I'm going to put a new one in here, paste, and say, find me that one. And so now it's moved over here. This is the second one. There's the one we named number 1. So once it's done moving, hit the plus icon here. It'll generate one that you can save. Name it number 2 or the name of the ship and hit OK. Change the icon if you so desire. And now I've saved the second mark. So you're going to go through and add each of these. So that's your first task. The second task is to look at this map that shows the old coastline before they started to build it up. And I want you to attempt to draw this coastline on our Google Earth map here. And so what you're going to have to end up doing is, to get a fairly accurate drawing, is you can look at the shape of the map, but you see the street names are in here. If you go to Google Earth and make sure you turn on roads, then when you zoom in, you can see some of the street names. And so usually, I think you hear this is Market Street that's running at this angle here. And if you come back to the thing, this is Market Street here. So use that as your guide. And then what you'll want to do is, once you kind of get an idea of where that coastline is, come up to this measuring tool and you can just choose path instead of line. And so with that, we're able to click and then find another spot, click, find another spot, click. So make your coastline this way. And then when you're done, just click save. And same thing, give it a name, whatever you'd like it to be. You know, coastline, path, whatever you'd like. And hit OK. And it'll keep that on the map. And then the last thing we're asking you to do is to find the Millennium Tower that we talked about in the previous lab. So for that, you should just be able to go to Google Earth. In the search bar, type in Millennium Lab. Same thing, it'll locate it for you and put a little mark there. So once you've done that, you want to zoom out so that you can fit everything on your image. The coastline, the locations of the boats, and the Millennium Tower all should be visible at your elevation, whatever you choose that to be. And then you can come up to here and you can save an image, or you can just capture a screen capture, whatever works best for you. So save that image, of course, save it somewhere where you can find it again. And then in this part of the lab, this is where you'll submit your image. So if you click that, it'll take you to here where it'll allow you to upload that image. And that'll be 15 points out of your 50 for your lab this week. So a little different from what we've been doing, but the other parts I think is pretty similar to what we've been doing, just that last kind of capturing part that we haven't done before. So hopefully that helps with that. If you have any questions, as always, please don't hesitate to contact me, and good luck.